had as a group of people who were doing these interesting work was we were not really afraid. We were not really afraid because we didn't know much. We were just trying to figure out things, right? So we went with the flow. We tried things. We struggled to make these things happen, but then ultimately, once you go through that cycle a couple of times, you come out confident. You delivered value to your clients or your work or whatever, right? So I would say you're going to see a very similar thing today. Obviously, things have changed quite a bit in the sense that today, there is AI. AI can do a lot of things. You can learn a lot of things online. You don't need to go through traditional learning. But with all of this, right, ultimately, the key factors that are important haven't changed. In the sense that while AI can probably do some part of coding, AI can probably do some part of writing or anything that you're doing, while AI can do some of it. Ultimately, as people who are entering the workforce or even otherwise, right, you need right kind of people to get results. It is almost like today, think of today's, let's say, if you take today's software, think of it as like a modern commercial airplane where a lot of things are automated by an autopilot. But that being said, you still need a really experienced commercial pilot to take off that plane, land that plane, handle that plane in tricky situations. And that's kind of what he or she gets paid for. And that's exactly how jobs would evolve, where you'll have AI doing things, but ultimately, what matters as somebody who is really doing well in your career, I would say would be three key factors. One, being fearless, right? Technologies change, but don't be too worried about it. Don't be too worried about experimenting with new things. Right? Be strong on your fundamentals. And this is kind of going back to my point around, you still need a commercial pilot. If things go wrong, you need a pilot who can take over and land the flight. And that's kind of what he gets paid for, right? So you want to make sure you're very, very strong on your fundamentals. And there is no compromise on that. And the third piece, which is very important, I would say in today's world with so many changes happening, would be the willingness to learn, the willingness to adapt, rapidly figure out things, rapidly learn things, unlearn things, and figure out if there is a new tool that can do things better, try and see how can you use that to do things. And I would say for that, the audience in this group would be really well positioned to do that in terms of learning, adapt things. And maybe the last piece I would do is as much as possible try and build practical experience along your journey, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So I think that's kind of my thoughts around some of the key skills that are important as we are going. And like I would say, probably not change so much over time, but then with all the new technologies, just adapt with that. Thank you, Skip.
Thanks. This was really insightful. Before I go to Param, I had just one question. You mentioned that knowledge is now available everywhere online. There's not really a need to go to the traditional learning. When you said this, I noticed one surprise smiley going up on the screen. So if you can just elaborate for the benefit of the audience, what did you mean by that?
Sure, absolutely. So again, I want to say that, I mean, I want to, before that, I want to clarify that structured education that you get from a college or any of these sources is still really very, very important because, I mean, this is again my personal view. As humans, we tend to like structure and we tend to like having somebody kind of take you to a path, even though you have a lot of, I mean, even personally, I think, oh, there's a lot of things that is available, but I never take the initiative to go do it. But the thing that I meant was, one was, over last 5 years, you had these massively online, the MOOC courses. That is one. But the more important thing that I was referring to today is with all your chat, tools like ChatGPT or Cloud or Perplexity, you can literally say, I want to build a Python application. Can you help me step by step in doing it? And it'll actually tell you how to do it in a very, very methodical way, just like how an instructor would do, which is very different from what it was maybe even 2 years back or 3 years back. So there is an opportunity to learn use some of these AI tools to learn things that would have been much, much harder before. That's kind of what I was referring to.
Thanks, Rajesh. This was great. So, Mr. Param, you have more than 2 decades of experience of developing and executing talent strategies across global financial institutions. And you have seen firsthand how the expectations have changed when it comes to hiring fresh graduates. Right? So, from your point of view, given that even the institutions, colleges, universities are also experimenting, bringing in new ways of learning, bringing in, say, more flexibility to the curriculum, in your view, how in today's landscape, what are the most essential skills that you look for, and how has this changed over, say, the past 10, 15 years?
Sure. Thank you, Shakib, and thank you for KMCT to invite all of us for this wonderful session. I think quite a few things which Rajesh have already covered. I'll just top on that. So, from the campus hiring perspective, I believe I have seen the dramatic shift in the last few years. So, starting from the pool hiring, then to the skill set hiring, and now which is more of a competency hiring. So there was a time when we used to do a pool hiring. We do hire say 1,000 people from different colleges, different universities all together, and then we'll decide where we have to put them in, and then we will start putting them, deploying them after the onboarding. That's called a pool hiring, so where there was no focus that are we looking at purely a AI side or full stack development or any tech stack for that matter. So we were not really bothering about tech stack. It's just that let's go ahead and hire 1,000 people. That's the demand we have that, and let's we go ahead and complete the hiring. That's one. Second phase came in where we were looking at more of a skill set hiring. A few years back, we feel that if we need to have somebody coming with a application support, we need to have a different mindset. Somebody coming for the development roles should be a different mindset altogether. And in case we need somebody coming up with an engineering mindset, that absolutely having a different mindset altogether. So we need to be very focused about the skill set what we are looking at it. And today's world, which is far better, improved, and different as well. So where we are looking for people where we need to understand the competencies, their analytical skills. Trust me, for last almost 5 years, while working with Stan Chartered and my last organization, Capital One as well. So where, so I was being a custodian of recruiting and the heading the organization from the TA function perspective. So I always drive the agenda to have right skills for the organization. The tech stacks, what we are looking at it today. Trust me, 20 years back when I started my recruiting career, even if somebody just write a Java in the resume, we used to hire. Doesn't matter whether he knows anything beyond that or no. We thought that at least somebody is writing Java, that means somebody would have at least read about it, would have done some basic understanding. I think let's go ahead and look at the profile. But today's world is totally different. So where we are looking at somebody should have a good, strong analytical skills, problem solving skills, right? And more important is how does the overall attitude look like of the individual? Is that person having a good, sharp learning curves as well or no? So I think there are a few things which we always highlight that and which I want that my business to drive this, because today's tech stack, what we are using, it was nowhere there 5-10 years back, and maybe after 5 years it may not be existing anyway. So technology got changing. That is the environment which is absolutely so constant, that where change is always constant there. The only thing is where we looking at it, the person should have a good analytical skills, strong business acumen, right, and producing a strong result and good problem solver. If we have those skills, I think person can learn any of those technologies and can be ready for our future as well. A lot of things which functional skills, soft skills, which Rajesh have covered it up already. So I don't want to repeat the same. So I'm sure people would have done the notes there.
Great. Thanks. So, Param, when you say you're looking at people who have that analytical bent of mind, problem-solving attitude, and have a good attitude, and hence they'll be able to learn when they join an organization. Right? Now, am I correct in assuming that when you are looking at these skills, which are somewhat soft skills, you're assuming that the technical skills are already in place, the basics are there, and these are top of that will make a student or a hire stand out?
I'll give you an example on that. I think you have a good question on this one, Sakib. So if I need to hire a good, strong, we having an engineering mindset, right? So we have a problem statement. We will give the problem statement during the interview time to the candidate, and we want the candidate to solve it. Maybe take 10, 15 minutes time or even half an hour's time, doesn't matter. How does the candidate approaching to the problem? The problem is already written on the paper, but does individual have some further questions on top of it or no? Or a person who would have understood entire thing just from the two line of statements? There are two types of people. Few may be asking, few may not be asking. That's okay. That's not be a challenging. But somebody who's asking the question, that means person really have a good curiosity to ask further that what sort of solutioning I need to build and why. Yeah. So the moment candidates start looking at a problem statement, start approaching towards the problem, setting a solutioning there. What tech stack? Why? Why this solution? Why not other? So when we look at the individual, we don't need somebody who will be solving the problem and giving the best solution. We need somebody who have that engineering mindset to think through the problem statement from the ground level and then understand the problem and see that how we can solve this problem, and the solution should be a long term impact solution. It should not be that I'm solving something in now and long term, in case we are scaling up this product or this module, then it will be blast. So we need somebody who will look at short term and long term both, solving the right problem but think differently. When you look at those soft skills, that is equally very important. But at the same time, if you do not have a coding skill, you won't be able to solve it. You don't even to find out what tech stack I will be using and why, right? So I think all those aspects are very important. Assuming we are talking to most of our engineering students, they are already engineering. They are already learning the computer skills. They learn to have computers, the subjects starting from first year till fourth year. And primarily the batch, to whom we are addressing today, they are 2026 pass outs, right? So when we look at that, they are already in the fourth year. So they have done their basics, fundamentals, absolutely already there. What is more important for them to learn how to apply all those technical skills by leveraging your soft skills, and you can crack any problem, you can crack any interviews as well. So that is more important for them to learn that how to get ready for the campus placement perspective.
Right. That's really interesting. When you said there should be curiosity, a mindset to really think through the problem. And I think that links very well to what Rajesh mentioned. Then there needs to be some level of fearlessness in how you approach a problem, right? You need to let go of your fear, be curious, and have a mindset to solve problems.
Yeah.
Thanks, Param, for this. Just moving on to Piyush. Piyush, you are recently working in a company that operates in a traditional sector, right? Logistics. But there you are setting up a team of AI professionals, right? So from your experience, how has AI changed even the companies that are working in traditional sectors? And do you believe that AI and other emerging technology skills are really, really, really critical now going forward?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sakif, for this opportunity. Uh, to your question, I think yes, to a certain extent, it is very important. But I do want to suggest to the audience here that today, the kind of candidate that we are seeking people who can work alongside AI systems, not outside. So, how we take AI is more like in a partnership. We're looking for, but predominantly when we look out for candidates today, how we approach and how we want these people to be like. First, that they should have a technical adaptability. While we are building, AI driven workflows, etc., especially when we talk about, our logistics or operations or manufacturing sectors, we definitely want these people to have the right technical ability. Second, we focus a lot on their learning agility. So in today's time, technologies, as we know, technologies evolve faster than curriculum or any formal training. Uh, we want individuals who can learn continuously, experiment, and pivot quickly. Uh, when priority comes and tool change. Third, if I have to talk about, we focuses on a certain behavior wherein we want people uh, to have a problem-solving mindset. Rajesh and Param has already covered this, but again, this is something very critical as a key behavior today we look for in any candidate when we choose them. How do they approach a typical problem? Uh, Thirdly, besides problem solving, we also look at these people from cross-functional thinking, whether these people uh, can whether they have a limited potential, or can they also think beyond their limits and can think of cross-functional areas. They're always expected to solve complex problem statements and ambiguous statements. At last, being into HR myself, I think at HR what we look for is a cultural fit wherein we look for these people who are again agile enough to be fit into a culture, can largely contribute to the team, aligned to the business goals, etc. So in if in case I have to give you a crux, what we look for in today's time, we look for people those who are tech aware, those who are curious, people those who are adaptable, collaborative. They're able to apply to critical thinking is what we look for.
Right, right. Thanks, Piyush. So if I can have a follow-up question with you. In your experience, do you realize that AI, artificial intelligence, and other emerging skills, are they becoming a central to business strategies of even sector companies that are working in traditional sectors like logistics, manufacturing? And how do you see this trend going?
See, definitely they have, as the technology is evolving, definitely AI is becoming a center wherein, AI is becoming center in a way that we've been implementing and we've been using the tools in on daily basis. But at the same time, as I said, it is important. The tools will keep on changing. Today, we work on a certain AI technology, then different versions will come. But it is basically it is just like a machine you're using, but a pilot needs to be trained a certain way. How we pivot this changes is very important. So key behaviors keeps on changing is what is essential in today times. Given any technology comes, the time when we were hiring, there were people, when I was in college, though I'm not a BTech graduate, I come from a management. I see people were just doing coding, but today when we hire people those who do an end-to-end development, not just limited to coding. So things are changing, times are evolving. What we really need, what shift we need is basically a learning agility. Agility is the key. While tools will definitely keep coming and they'll keep replacing one or the another.
Thanks, Piyush. So, Param, you had mentioned that you have seen the hiring practice evolve from pool hiring to skill set hiring to competency hiring. Now, given this change, would you say the traditional resumes, are they still relevant, or students need to, build up their GitHub profiles? Should they become active on LinkedIn? How does that play into all this, the changes in the hiring patterns that you see?
Sakib, if I'll tell you the honest truth, resume,
Yes,
whatever
please.
the format it doesn't matter.
Oh, interesting.
When we look at from the candidate, from the campus perspective, right? I'll maybe take you to the process. How does that work from corporate perspective? Slightly longer answer. The moment if I'm reaching out to KMCT today that I know, hey, I need to do the hiring from your campus and give me your data, all the candidates in the respective format, what I already have it, or whatever format you have that, as long as all the fields are being covered, I'm good with that. With that, we will be going ahead and starting the interview process without looking at people's name. We will simply go through that how many are matching to my criteria. For example, let's say 70-80% the personal marks as we speak today, and they know how does their marks look like in 10th and 12th. That's a typical way of looking at the CGPA criteria or the personal criteria. Out of, for example, we have 100 people from KMCT who applied for my organization. Maybe 70% are matching to my profile, and we will be launching the online coding test where the link will go to all the 70 people whose email ID is already written there. Yeah, so they will start going through the assessment process. Assessment is over. Following that, they may have some one round of a video interview as well. The moment that is done, I may have one other round of interview, which is more of a psychometric test, which we also do that. So they will go through that. So out of that 70 pool of people, I'm assuming 50% is 35 people already clear. Till then, as an organization, we have not looked at a CV at all. Yeah. So by then, we are at the stage where we are meeting the candidates. Only then the resume part comes in a picture where hiring manager would like to see the CV, would like to understand the potential of the individual, what sort of skill set they have worked in, what sort of the projects they have done that. And trust me, even that, sometimes people write very high sort of fundamental technologies of AI, ML, everything what they write it. But do they really know the basics of it? Do they really have done some good project in that area? May not be. Yeah. So even today's world, it's not that every developer is an AI developer in the world. Not more than 10-20% of the industry is using AI ML. Yeah. So where we have a real-time AI ML projects in the industry here. But beyond that, when we look at people are simply leveraging front-end technologies, back-end technology, Java, Python, they are still solving the big problems of the world and they are still shining there. Yeah. So if your resume is a very simple formatted, left corner, you have a name, mobile number, email ID, right corner, you have a right picture, put your objective on the top, and then your education, then project what you have done there, some achievement you have done that. One page is more than enough to tell somebody that who I am. Yeah, whatever the format you follow, whatever format that you like it, I think that's more than enough. But that is till the time you are not going for interview, resume doesn't play any value there. So the systematic process will follow that. And when you're meeting the hiring manager, that means hiring manager already have a good positive impression about a candidate. The candidate have gone through my tech round, my video interview, my psychometric. I think person is good. So even if your CV little bit here and there, they will discount it because you're fresher, right? So it doesn't matter. So as long as you will be presenting your good skills while talking to the interviewer, I think you will be clear.
Yeah, that's it. That's really interesting. So I'm sure students will be making notes. Someone saying something?
Yeah, Satib, I was thinking of adding a couple of points to that.
Please.
And maybe we kind of will be covering this a little bit later. So more than the format of the resume. So, I think Param's points are very, very useful. And what he said is absolutely right in the sense that the first screening goes through an online test and right. So obviously it is important for the students who are going through the placements to ensure that they're prepared for that online test and coding test or logical test or any of that. That is a very important part to get through the filtering. But the second part on the resume, more than the format, one of the things that I wanted to add, which one of the things that we always looked at is have they done any real projects as much as possible? Have they done any? And I do talk about this later as well. But we look quite a bit around, and I am a big believer of saying that have they done any actual real projects? Like Param said, a lot of times people will put projects which are not real or whatever, right? But the idea is, have they really done? Ideally, have they done any sort of industry internship kind of projects? If not, have they done an internal project, but have they actually gone deep into it, right? If we find a project, we like to go deep into it, ask questions, and see if they've learned something real from there. And the reason for that is, and I do think while academic education is great, typically, we follow a syllabus during the academic education, whereas real world working doesn't, we all know that there is no syllabus. You go in there and you figure it out. And I think that is that bridge, these projects that they do, the projects that the students do with either external groups or internal groups are the real bridge to kind of going from that certainty to the uncertainty, right? And I think, and again, I mean, as a student, I'd done the same mistake of saying, "Oh, here is a project. I'll just kind of, put something there, skip it, and all that." We all kind of gone through it. But now, looking out from the outside, I think, oh, I could have done a lot more. And I think, I mean, I would say, from as students, if there is one thing that you could do, I would say try and take your real project seriously. If possible, go do an internship with somewhere outside. If not, if you're doing an internal project, make sure you actually put your heart and mind into it, because that's going to really, really make or break that interview. If somebody catches, I mean, somebody starts talking to you on that, and if you can actually passionately talk about that, that'll make a huge difference in my mind. Um,
That's really insightful, Rajesh. In fact, when I also think back of my college days, I also have similar thought that could I have done this project better? Could I have been more involved
Yeah,
in
at
that?
that point, that's one of the mistakes that we all do, where we
Correct,
are
correct.
like, oh, it's just another project, and
Right.
that kind of thing, right? So
Correct. This connecting to this, Rajesh, while you say you look at certain real experience of real life projects or industry internships, but from your experience of having set up companies, and you also said that adaptability is key. People have to be fearless. But how do you identify while you're hiring? How do you identify whether this person is fit for a current role, especially in a startup environment? How do you assess that this person will be able to grow with the company?
sure. So again, I think I probably covered some of it early on in terms of some of the factors that I look at. I mean, when I spoke about the projects, but maybe before I get into the actual looking at the candidates part, I want to just bring out one thing, which is this is kind of how we look at hiring and grooming future leaders. And for all the people who are here, it is probably some guideline around once you get into an organization, how to behave, right? How to do well. So one of the things that we have seen really well, we've seen doing really well, and I'm sure Piyush and Param would would that's a found that if I find the right person, of course, at a junior level, you have to make sure you have to give them the right training. At a mid-level leader, if you hire the right person, and when I say right person, I want to qualify it. I always say I don't hire I don't hire the perfect resume, right? In the sense that I want somebody who can really sort of, I kind of look for somebody who can punch weight above their weight class in some sense, right? In the sense that I'll look at somebody and say, okay, does this person have that drive to go one step forward? And a lot of times, as we build companies, and of course, this works especially in entrepreneurial setup, because larger companies can always probably try and identify the best profile, the best resume, the best degree. But a lot of times that may or may not work as well. What we've seen is, we look for we look I would say the one thing that we look the most is the drive of the candidate, right? In terms of, does that person really have hunger to get something? I mean, so a lot of times we've seen somebody might not be the most communicative person, and because of our and I mean, at least some of us here in Kerala who have gone through systems here may not be the best in their English communication. I grew up in the same way. So I'm not talking about the language part, right? Sometimes, you go through that conversation and see, does this person, of course, skills is one thing for sure, right? But more than skills, or I would say, if I have somebody, a couple of people with similar skills, I,
I think we lost him.
Yes, I think so. I just want to add, Sakib, to this. As we always hear, that skills are coachable, behaviors are not. So, again, this is very important how we approach today's talent is basically their keenness to learn. Um, Maybe they may not come with best of the merits, but if in case they bring best of the behaviors, they're always welcome. There should always be keenness for people to learn, upskill themselves, grow. So some key behaviors are always, uh, you know, key matrices for us to choose a talent. So this is something that I would want to let the audience know, that once you have those perfect behaviors of not giving up, be experimental in your approach, you always have a keenness to learning, you bring that agility, I think these are few things that can surpass if you don't uh, have, let's say, a 10 on 10 in some subject. So this is it.
Like
Yeah, sorry,
this is
I got,
really
yeah.
yes, Rajesh. Please,
Sakib,
please.
I got disconnected. I was just saying that I think one of the key aspects that I look for is that ability to learn, ability to change, and that that hunger to do things is something that we have. And I think Param rightly said in one of his points was that it's not just that. I mean, are we looking for somebody who solves all the problems? No, we are looking for somebody who thinks from first principles, who tries their best, and who really wants to get to the solution. Even if they don't get it during that half hour, that's fine, so far as you see that that person is trying really hard and has that mindset to get there. I think that's going to be the most important thing.
Right, right. So before moving on to the next segment, I think there's just a few takeaways that I noted down. I'll start with what Piyush said. Skills are coachable, but behaviors are not. Right. So you need that good attitude, that learning ability, that learning agility, the term that Piyush used. Then, as Param said, there needs to be a mindset to think through the problem. You need to be curious. And Rajesh, as you said, there needs to be a sense of fearlessness in addressing in tackling any problem. Right. Now, when we say fearlessness, I mean that has to be based on a belief that I have covered my fundamentals, right? Or my institution, my alma mater, my college, my professors have given me enough technical skills that my fundamentals are very strong. I will be fearless now going forward. I can tackle any problem. I can think through any problem, right? Now, moving on from this point to this very seamlessly transitions us to the next segment that we have on how do we bridge this gap. There is a perceived gap between like what institutions, colleges, universities teach to students and what does the industry expect, right? So how do you Param, I'll come to you first. How do you believe this gap could be filled? What are certain ways in which academy and industry can collaborate?
Sure, Sakib, I'm happy to answer this, but just to be a little mindful on the timing, I think we have left with almost 20 minutes.
Yes. We'll another 10 minutes and then we'll open it to quick Q&A.
Sounds good. So, all right. So I think the bridging the gap between the campuses, academia, and in the industry, I think there are a lot of efforts are going on from the industry side as well. But at the same time, we always look forward to have a curiosity from the campus perspective. Yeah. If I may be saying upfront, and sorry to say that, so till the time I was not being called up for this sort of a forum today, uh, I think the day when we had a first conversation, Sagiv, you and Abhinav, and even Preeti, I was not really much knowing about KMCT. Yeah, otherwise, if I'll tell you, I do visit to NIT Calicut, I think maybe 6, 7 times I have visited there. Yeah.
Okay.
So for my all the previous organization. But do I still know about KMCT? Not really. Yeah. So I think one is how campus is curious to bridge that gap from their side. Are they having enough conversations with the industry, looking at some sort of partnership, some sort of solving some sort of real time problems, or maybe trying to have some sort of internships, or if not internship, that can we have some sort of a MOU with the corporate and with the university to bring something from the campus perspective. So I think that is very important. The way we always look at that, corporate need to bridge the gap. At the same time, we always expect the college should also do the same thing. That is one. Second is when we cross that first step, we need to understand that how does the talent pool look like. Yeah, as a being a part of corporate, I may be having some sort of exciting, very challenging opportunities. I may be okay to have 8 to 10 students to do some sort of internship or some sort of a long-term project with me. But at the same time, do we have the pool ready? Yeah, so if the pool is ready, because typically I'll go with my same assessment process. I'll start the process with assessing candidates, their coding skills, their functional skills, their presentation skills. If all the things are ready, that is very fruitful for the corporate to take that as a first step, rather campus take the first step. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and initiate the process. Second, third is if we have the pool is also ready. Yeah, at the same time, how does the pool or candidates are open to go out from their comfort zone? Comfort zone, my mean is because they are, I'm assuming, because the in the center is in Kozhikode and most of the talent, most of the candidates, they must be from the same location, right? How comfortable they are to leave the location and explore the world outside. Yeah, so that is equally important. So all these three things, which I feel that where the gap has to be bridged up, but the partnership has to become the both sides. I try to sequence my answer in those three bullet points so that we can have a less time rather spending more time for everyone here.
Right. Now, in the interest of time, I'll just move to the next important question that I wanted to discuss, which is how can students who are about to enter the workforce, right? How do they prepare now so that when they enter into the workforce, they are future ready, right? If we can start with Mr. Piyush, what are your views on how can students really be, what should students do to ensure that they have a good future? They are future proof.
See, again, Sakib, in my view, it is all to do with a mindset uh, to be future ready. As I think we've been discussing in this forum, uh, you know, what attitude is required to be future ready. But I think there are a couple of things that I can tell our audience that they must be willing to take ownership of their learnings through online courses if they're doing any side projects, trying to gain any hands-on experience. We participate in ongoing hackathons, or if at all, any organization like we at Smile Digital AI Labs, we organize, various uh, short, assessments online, wherein some of our team product leaders, they've organized it by themselves. For HR, at HR recruiting, we do it ourselves, wherein we invite a lot of students to online participates to problem solve on some of the other project, and then basis that we choose these people and select. Uh, Another thing, again, from a behavior standpoint, I'd like to say students must embrace challenges and failures as a learning opportunity. We also look at a lot of young talent who probably don't feel good about losing a certain chance. That shouldn't be a case. They should always embrace challenges and failures as a learning opportunity. Uh, Thirdly, today is in the moving world wherein we work with multi internationals, developing confidence, strong communication, working on interpersonal skills alongside technical expertise is very important. Uh, my closing thoughts would again be, uh, building the correct attitude, thinking of adaptability, the ability to grow others around. These are few things that I think is much needed in today's time to win. That's what I think.
Thanks, Piyush. Uh, in the interest of time, I think I'll have one open question to the three of you. Can you share a moment from your experience of building a team in which a candidate surprised you, not with the resume, but with the aptitude or attitude that student or that new hire had? Any personal anecdote that you have?
Sakib, I think if I have to go first,
Uh,
uh,
Please go, please.
so this is something we often come across, wherein there are some candidates, those who give exceptionally well and perform exceptionally well in the areas. But again, as I said, it's just not limited to one side of things. They've been given a certain project to deliver. While they definitely deliver the project up to the mark, but besides that, how they approach it, and then besides uh, how they come and exceed expectation on a project is something that comes. I may not have very specific examples, but we do come across a lot of such talented people, those who overperform in the given task, but they contribute to the organization, they contribute to the people, they contribute to the team at large. They may not just independently take their load, but they also take a load of, uh, you know, you know, their teams, etc. Wherein definitely these people outshine because of the contribution, because of contribution and collaboration that they show towards the work. And that's what people generally, we give people a certain rating. People, those who exceed expectation, it is always about moving an extra mile from what you've been doing to doing a little extra, taking ownership, accountability of the task, delivering it on time. uh, but cumulatively, it's more driving the right behavior in the team, and then propagate to the organization level is what we see.
Thanks, Piyush. Okay.
Yeah, so
Thank.
Sagib, I'll add a couple of things there,
Yes, please.
just some experience if it's okay. So I think when I co-founded my first company in 2010, this was right after the big recession, 2000, or in fact we were founded in 2009, right in the middle of the recession. And we were also bootstrapped at that point in time. We did not have a name in Kochi. So we had a lot of negatives. But what we did was we went to some of the peripheral colleges, so not the main ones in Kochi. Now we are lucky to get some really good talent from some of the main colleges in Kochi. But then this time we went to some of the peripheral colleges. But what we did again was we look for people who are really hungry, right? That's kind of so we're saying within this pool we'll look for people who really want to prove themselves. What we found was we got this really amazing set of people. In fact, a lot of them, came in very raw with, not great communication skills, etc. And that's again sort of a side, a little bit of an issue of having grown up in some of these rural places. I mean, like I said, I've gone through that experience as well, right? So, but what eventually happened is in less than 2 years, some of these people were leading large projects, and they eventually they were working with some very large customers. Some of them even maybe in 5 6 years they joined some very large companies, and they also said the learning that they got was really amazing. So it was kind of a mutual experience, right? So I strongly believe that you get the right people, put them in the right place, magic can happen. So, and we see that too.
With that note, I would really like to thank all of you for taking out time for this session. Before we end, we have a few questions. There are a few questions in the Q&A box. There are a few questions that the student had shared with us earlier as well. In the interest of time, I'll pick up maybe just 3 questions. There's one question in the Q&A box, Rajesh, directly to you. He says, how should a student select a project? How can you choose a project that is industry relevant, or how can your projects make you more employable?
I think I don't know if there is a standard answer to that, but I think the idea is it's a little bit of iteration, and this is exactly what I was saying, that in a college you follow a syllabus. Once you're out of college, there is no syllabus, but what helps is sort of an iteration, and the closer you are with industry, you will figure out what is more important and what is more relevant. And to my other point where I said it's good to do a project and good to go deep into a project. When we try to evaluate, we don't even really care so much about is that project that they've done, is that relevant to what we're doing? But the most important thing is, have you actually done something practical and have you gone deep into it? So to me, in our environment, I don't know if we can really be choosy to say, I will go pick up this kind of project. I would say it's more important to say, I will somehow figure out and get some opportunities. And I am actually a big fan of even when I travel to US quite a bit, I work there quite a bit as well. One of the things I see these kids working at fast food places, where I think it's extremely efficient operations. And I would say even you work at a place like that, the exposure that you get would be immense when you get to the industry, right? So to me, more than the kind of projects, it's more about how deep you go in it. That'd be my answer.
Just to add, So my point is, what is the impact of the project, whatever you're picking it up, be it in the college or outside of the college? Like Rajesh said that, right? So there are a lot of people in the US, they do work on the food corner, food joints, even as a student, and they are still serving the good food there. But trust me, they are not just there to earn the money and good food, but at the same time, they're experiencing the real-time problem statements. And what solution they are to providing, that's equally important there. So as a student, it's absolutely does not value whether you are working in a corporate, getting some project and then delivering, or you are supporting nearer you to your any hospitals or any of the government office or any, maybe pick up something from your college as well. As long as the problem statement is challenging, you are solving something in real time and you are giving them a good solutioning, trust me, that will help you to grow.
Okay, is basically how are you able to demonstrate that you are applying the skills that you have learned? If you
Yeah,
are able to
but
demonstrate that in your
important
project,
is, are you able to identify the problem statement?
correct, right?
Yeah, if you have the problem statement, you will tend to, and you will be curious to know about, so what this problem is, why this problem is, what can be the problem solution is. And guys, people knows that Bangalore is a hub of problems. That is the only reason we are hub of the startups as well, because there are thousands of problems come every day and people are building products, coming out with some good startups, and that's where they are running, they are earning huge money as well. It's just that you need to identify the problem statement.
Right. I'll just take one more question. This question is from Hamza, a BTech student in KMCT ITM. He asks, how can young professionals balance the need for continuous upskilling with the pressure of starting their careers? What advice do you have?
Guys, if you really look at it, there's no pressure to start a career immediately. Right? It's not that your BTech is done in month of July and you need to start something in August immediately. Absolutely, unless you have financial need and you feel that that was a dream of your parents at the moment you finish your degree and you have to start something immediately, I can understand that. But otherwise, like I said, that as till the time you are not getting into something good projects, you're not getting into good organizations. You need to keep learning something of the other. There are thousands of good sites are available online as well where you can have online learning. There are a lot of international courses available free of cost. So you just have to give some time. Your projects or your study will be done. Unless you feel that you have a good money in your hand, you can pay $50, $100 to get a certification done. You can also do that. But otherwise, there's no end to the learning, and learning is endless here. And there are a lot of free channels where you can go for the learning. That's one. Second, job perspective, and you will be keep learning. So enroll yourself for multiple platforms in India. Starting with, let's say, Hacker Earth. There are a lot of organizations who have done a lot of free of cost hackathon on site. You just have to enroll and get your registration done. If you feel that you can solve something, you can do it, right? Like you said that, so they are also doing some lot of hackathons, codathon there. That every organization do that, including Microsoft, Amazon also do that. So if you will be getting in there to secure the right opportunity, cracking the problem statement, delivering it in time, trust me, you will get a job. At the same time, I'm sure KMCT will also be equally putting hard efforts, putting the best people on the ground. You have a KPMG team, Saqib is there, Preeti is there, and I'm sure you will have a lot of people on the ground who will be running your placement season for this time from now to at least for next year. So I'm sure you will have good companies coming over, but at the same time, you will ensure that you should be ready for the entire process of recruiting, be it your communication skill, your technical skill, your analytical skill. You have to be ready. Then you don't have to worry about your future.
Thanks a lot, Param. Thanks, Rajesh. Thanks, Piyush. This was really insightful. Can I invite Saifa to take over, please?
Thank you.
A heartfelt thank you to our panelists, moderator, and everyone who joined us today. It's been truly enriching to hear such diverse perspectives from professionals with inspiring journeys and impactful careers. May I now request Dr. Abdul Ghafoor, Principal of KMCT Institute of Emerging Technology and Management, for the closing note.
Thank you, Saifa. I think still some space is there for the technology from my own experience today in the meeting. I was about to join from my iPhone, but the link was in the Google. I was trying in the Safari. So that problem is there, some technical incompatibility issue. So before, I'm very much thankful to all these speakers for your wonderful talk and the advice and the insights that you have given to our students and our moderator, Sakib, and speakers, Piyush, Rajesh, and Paramveer Singh, all given a wonderful insight to our students and all. Last 3 days, actually, I was there in Info Park for meeting various HRs of industry along with Assistant Director Sahil Moidu. And at the final day, I attended an HR conclave of that is CIE, that is technically is partnered by this KPMG itself. From that whole, I am very happy to tell one thing to my students. The thing is that there is no contradictions in the words of HRs of various companies in the info park or in the talk of that is CIE. Everybody is talking the same thing what the speakers today told. So there is no scope for confusion. In conclusion, what I understood that if the student is ethically high, very honest, and their attitude and habit is correct, then remaining things will be go in that way. So the upskilling or preparing for disruptions and everything, that is only the things everybody want to talk, but only the words will be in the different manner. So if our students are ready for that one, that is a challenge. HR people are telling that the main challenge we are facing is there to retain them in the company, because it is not because of the issues of the company, it is because of the attitude and habits of the candidates who joined in the company. Usually they are asking whether should we work on Saturday, or see, now we are conducting this program in the weekend on evening, right? This is very usual for us, but in Gen Z, I don't know, sometimes see, in this I was noticing, I was asking the Abhinav how many participants are there. It was not visible for me at the initial time. Now it is visible for me around 300 students. I was expecting around 100 students to attend. It is the case across the world. That is, some of the panelists told about some colleges in Cochin. 1 month before, I visited one reputed college in Cochin. The same placement officer is telling the same thing. It is very hard to keep the students in the training sessions. So I don't know. So in that way, what we can do more than just telling the students all these things, practically what we can do to change the mindset. See, here in the 300 students, fine. I'm very happy. These 300 students will be in the track, but I am bothered about the remaining 700 students in our sister concern. So what we can do collectively to bring them also to this level, then we can make a change. That is and HR, one session yesterday, it was very interesting. The HR people always are searching for one ECG. ECG is nothing but empathy, compassion, and gratitude that the HR should have. At the same time, they are expecting from the candidates to that things that is missing. Technically, everything what we can do, all of the resources we can provide, but these something beyond the personal attributes where we have to focus. I think once again, I'm not taking much time this late evening. I'm also in the journey in between. Sorry for disruption at the beginning. I was about to talk at the beginning. Thank you once again to all for your marvelous and very inspirational address. All, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abdul. Like you said, that is normal and common for us to attend sort of meetings on Saturday, which is not. I told my wife to give me 1 cup of coffee. She said only 1 coffee, 1 hour. Rest you will have to make after 6. I said I'll do that. So it's not so easy.
Thanks, Dr. Abdul. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before we sign off, I'm excited to share a glimpse of what's coming next. KMCT Group of Institutions will be hosting the first edition of KMCT HR Conclave on October 12th, right here on the Mukam campus. This event will bring together industry leaders, HR professionals, and educators to dive deeper into themes like talent transformation, future-ready skills, and the evolving role of education in workforce development. We look forward to welcoming you all to the conclave and continuing this important dialogue in person. Until then, thank you once again and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.